Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we're finding and learning and turning the great strategy games. Today, back into Gary Grigsby's War in the Pacific, Admirals Edition, and this is our play-by-email challenge with the devious Lodric. And Lodric, as I say at the start of every episode, is doing a really good job, and I like it. It's going to make for a lot of fun, a really good game. I've never played Lodric before, and so I had no idea. I had no idea whether it was going to be good or bad or otherwise. It's certainly going to be better for the channel and for you guys watching that he is actually doing a very, very good job as the Japanese. It's very hard to play the Japanese side in this game. Obviously, the default position, I think most, 80, 90% of people play the Allied side. And ultimately, as I always say in these war games, it's easier to play the side that won the war, almost without exception, because there was a reason that they did, whether it be, production or war materials or troop, whatever the case may be, there's usually a pretty solid reason why they won. Now, of course, war games always try to make it more interesting by giving you victory points and saying, well, can you just do a little better than they did in history and whatnot? But ultimately, playing the Japanese early on, you have got to be ultra, ultra aggressive. I can say that having played the Japanese a few times. I've played the Allies more, but I should say I've played this game a lot. I've played, the Allies the vast majority of times, but I played the Japanese enough to know that there's a lot that goes into it. You can't really make any mistakes. You got to get it just right, and you've got to be super aggressive. And Lodric has certainly done that, and I really appreciate it. And like I said, it's going to make for a better game for me to play, for you to watch, and for the channel. So that's great. Hat tip to Lodric. And anyway, so we've been going over some combat resolutions the last few times, and I thought I would take a pause here for a second and go and just kind of go through what we're doing, how we're doing it, why I think it's the way to do it. And we'll just kind of go around the map and look at everything. Before we do that, I did want to just kind of catch you up to where the game is by going to the intelligence report. And the intelligence report gives you the points and what's going, how many planes we've lost, how many planes he's lost, so on and so forth. So let's go check it out. Sorties, he's running a significant number more sorties than we are. Of course, the Americans really don't have any aircraft in theater, not where the action is anyway, in China, where he's just bombing us mercilessly. Malaysia, same idea. Philippines, same idea. And so, he's also got his Kido Butai, his main task force, moving around like a mobile Death Star, and he's running a lot more sorties than we are. I'm actually surprised it's even this close, to be honest with you. Air-to-air losses, we took 12 last time, he took 0. We just don't have a lot of cap left. He's coming in, he's bombing sort of unmolested all over the map. And that's really because, I mean, we start off with very few fighters where they need to be. We've got our flying tigers in Rangoon. Now, sometimes you can move them, into China at Changsha and let them try to pick off bombers. I'm not doing that in this game, and the reason now I will do that against the AI or against a weaker Japanese player. The reason I'm not doing that this time is Lodric's very, very smart about doing the sweeps first. If you get somebody that's not doing a whole lot of sweeps with the zeros, you can get away with having the flying tigers there because then you're up against the zeros that are having to run escort, and they're not as good when they're just doing escort. They've got to worry about the bombers, and also you can pick off bombers, and so it makes it well worth your while to get up and scrap with the Japanese when they're just running pure escort missions. But when they're running sweep missions like he is, you're going to get chewed up pretty badly. And we just can't afford to lose the Flying Tigers before he starts his assault on Rangoon. And so I've got them all, down in Burma, and I'm just not going to put them in China. You can query. You're going to lose a whole squadron of flying tigers if you put them in China eventually. Again, against the AI or not a very good player, ultimately you can have them up and flying for a very long time, so it's probably worth it. But against Lodric here, we may lose them within a month, and then what? I mean, what have we really accomplished? We've stopped a little bit of bombing, but it's not enough to make a huge dent. I don't think anyway. That's just my opinion. Air to air, so we've lost 223. He's lost 110. That's probably the smallest number I've seen as we turn into 1942 that I've ever accomplished against an opponent. So he's doing a great job with the sweeps. Learn something from that if you're interested in playing the Japanese side, or if you're going to play the Allies, how a good Japanese player will do it. He's only taken 110, and you think about the amount of bombing he's done. That's really impressive. Destroyed on the field, 0 and 0. We haven't bombed any of his airfields, so he's got 0. We have 58. A lot of that was at Manila early on. We've been losing one or two here and there. I hate getting planes destroyed on the field. They should either be up in the air or you should transfer bases. There's just no excuse after the first, I don't know, 3 or 4 turns ever getting anything destroyed on the field. Destroyed by flak. I would really like this number to be better. Now, it will be better soon because he's going to have to start running bombing missions up and over our main urban centers, and that's when you get a lot of flak that is effective. It's 49 to 10 at this point. Okay. Operational losses, he took 12, we took 7. We actually have more, but again, we had a lot of damaged planes early on. That will lead to more operational losses. We had a lot of float planes out flying very far for recon and stuff. So I'm not too worried about that. That looks about right to me. We have a lot of political points. So we're going to have to start spending them more aggressively because we've got to get more American planes out into theater, and that's what I'm going to be spending the vast majority of that on early in 1942 as we come up on that. It's currently what, December 29th, I believe. Japanese score, he's at 53-53, so he's been bumping that up. We've been staying about the same, 10,644. It's a little deceiving. When he takes Singapore, when he takes Manila, he's going to jump up in points. But, we're fine. We're fine there. I hope to win total war, total victory. No, we don't take surrenders, boys. It's total victory out there. But ultimately, this game may come down to points. Lodric's doing a great job, so we've got to conserve our points. A big part of the reason that I changed a lot of tactics when it came to our shipping, but we're going to get deep into that this time around. Allied bases controlled 549 to 287. You can see that's where we get the vast majority of our points. We've lost 443 points aircraft. He's lost 257. This is the Army score, 1189 to 13. We've got to start blooding his nose, and we will when he comes into the big places, Singapore, Chengchao, Changsha, things like that. But for right now, he's really minimized his ground losses. We've had 211 ships sunk so far for 1,641 points. So, I'm no mathematician, but that's about on average, 8 points per ship. Now, if you figure out that we lost several battleships early on that are, at Pearl Harbor, we're probably averaging, post Pearl Harbor about 5 points a ship. I would, that's actually not too bad. That's not too bad. Now, he sunk a lot of ships, none of them critical. But again, if this game comes down to points, that's all going to be important. He's done a great job with this. But we've also, again, just not lost, any major ships yet. We have a couple that we're going to have to do something with, but we'll talk about that this time. The game's telling us he's only lost 2 ships. I find that hard to believe. He's also lost a few submarines, but it's a few more than that. We got a little fog of war. I think he probably has 5 or 6 damage. I don't know if any of those sunk. Okay, let's go to ship sunk last turn. All right, last turn. You may remember the Alchebo was trying to get into Pago Pago. I said, gosh darn it, that was like the last stray cargo ship I had on the map. And of course he found it. 12 points there. It's a nice cargo ship, but nothing to cry over. We lost those 3 local mine sweeps, and we lost the little AKL off the coast of Australia to his main carrier task force. You're just going to lose some of those. You're going to lose some of all of that. I'm not worried about the first 4. This one, you know, uh, I started adjusting 3 or 4 turns ago. This was just one out there that I couldn't get a destroyer to, and he found it. Good job by him. Okay. Do we have any aces yet? We don't. Now, usually by this point, I have aces because the Flying Tigers have been under a lot of action and they get up to ace status really quickly. The guys in Manila and Singapore, that is the vast majority of these units, or these squadrons, I should say. They haven't gotten there yet. We still don't have any, and a lot of them have gotten killed. 89 pilots killed, 110 wounded. So, and we've got 9 missing. So, he's really kind of cut into some of our pilot force now. Luckily, as the Allies, we got a lot of pilots that are coming. We're trying to train them all up at this point. Okay, I mean, I think that's the big deal. Ship availability. Let's go to type here. The Yorktown's going to be coming in. No, let's actually do it by ETA. That's more fun. Let's switch it that way. Switch it this way. Switch it that. There we go. Yeah, okay. We get the Yorktown next turn. So we get a brand new carrier into San Diego. I can report that our really more advanced destroyers for the U.S., they have an ASW of 4 as opposed to everything that has a 2 at the start for the U.S. We now have the 4s. They're sitting in San Diego waiting for the Yorktown. I may just leave it at the Yorktown or at San Diego for a while. We'll see. I don't see any reason to bring them out to Pearl Harbor. At this point in time, we're not going to get loose with the carriers, so we'll see. We may eventually send something over by Papua New Guinea, although if he keeps his carriers concentrated, we've got to be really careful with that. So we'll see how that plays out. As you can see, we lost an AK this last turn. We get 2 right back tomorrow. We probably got some this turn. I didn't check. We've got a couple of tankers coming in for the Brits, one at Abadan, one at Cape Town. That's great. We've got some patrol craft coming in kind of all over the place. New submarine for the Brits, of all people, the Trusty. I just like that name. We've lost several AOs. Well, we get one back in 3 turns. We have a lot more. We got more British destroyers coming in. We've just got, it's limitless. This is just in the next 10 days, all the stuff we get. So, I've had people say, well, you don't seem that upset with how many ships you've lost and whatnot. It's not that I'm happy about it. I wish, I would have started off just a little more cautious. That being said, we'll be all right. We'll be all right. I mean, look at, within the next 15 days, I think we get 30 big AK cargo ships. So losing one a turn's not going to really do much. You can see the Brits start getting a lot of stuff in. Excuse me. The Royal Sovereign, big battleship coming in at Aden. The Dorsetshire comes in at Cape Town in 17. We get a U.S. destroyer. We get another Brit destroyer. So the Brits are going to have like 4 or 5 destroyers out on the map. We'll send them down by Colombo, down into that area to get with the Hermes, which is the only British carrier on the map at this point. In 17 days, this is a really big one for us. We're going to get a lot more submarines to replace some of the ones that we lost at Manila. Again, look at all of the AKs that we get in 17 days at the Panama Canal. The U.S. brings, I mean, this is just, it's, it keeps going. It's like 3 pages long of AKs. So again, losing 1 or 2 of those, you lose the points, which hurts, but for the ultimate war effort, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, you can see the situation in and around Pearl Harbor. I've got a lot of submarines. Now, a lot of these are the ones coming in from Manila. So some of these are damaged. These are not. The pike and shark, the swordfish is not. The sea lion is not. So I said that, but it's true. There are some of these that are damaged as they're coming in. Sailfish looks okay. I had some subs that I put down here at Johnston. He had brought a surface force over here by Johnston Island. I don't know if that was just a stray force. I don't know what he was doing really. There maybe have been some real good logic behind it. I just don't know what it is. So I brought a lot of subs out in this area. We also have a patrol gunship over here. that's just kind of in and around Johnston. But I've got all the subs coming back to Pearl Harbor. We're going to get any of them that need to be repaired. We're going to get them formed into wolf packs, and we'll get them right back out. And we're going to start doing some more. It'll be defensive in nature early on, if nothing else, just to kind of scare him a little bit. You're not strong enough at this point in the game to get into his convoy lanes and really wreak much damage. The U.S. subs aren't particularly great. They have terrible torpedoes. They're just not war ready at this point. Not really. These are still interwar subs. They're early subs. Think about when sub warfare came about. I mean, these are still really early subs, so they're not particularly effective. I always find that they're best in packs of like three or four, of like subs, and you send them out, and they can do some defensive stuff around Pago. If he's trying to land at Port Moresby or Rabaul, they can sometimes just absolutely devastate a landing force. That goes for other places, such as the Dutch East Indies, but that will really do that with Dutch subs. We could put some of these over by Australia as well, in case he gets the wild idea he's going to come in and land somewhere in Australia. So we'll look at that, and we'll come back and look at all of this stuff just to give you an indication of the kind of task forces I'm running. Let's look at this task force. This is a major cargo task force that is going to be going back to Los Angeles. It's now unloaded at Pearl Harbor. You can see all of the cargo ships we have here. They're all like ships. We have two destroyers and a destroyer minesweeper that also has ASW capability. They are all headed back to Los Angeles to load up. But this should be fairly well protected. Now, I'm not saying he can't sneak something in through this net and get a shot off at a cargo ship, but usually we're going to make him pay for that. I've pretty much just got patrol ships, whether they be gunboats or otherwise, running around here. And then I'm using all of my destroyers to run escort. Let's look at one that's coming in. Now, this is coming in from San Francisco, and you can see we've got two destroyers along with all of these cargo ships. I say all of these. This isn't one of my particularly big ones, so I just have two destroyers with it. I'll probably put a destroyer minesweeper with it and a couple of more cargo ships. So, if we look back at what's going or coming, let's look at this. We've got two AOs coming out to Pearl Harbor. I've got two destroyers with just two AOs, but I'm protecting these with my life at this point. So we've got them coming out to Pearl. Now this is something going back to LA. I've got three destroyers and a destroyer minesweeper with these very, very important tankers. Now this can bring out, what is that? Oh, well over 50, well over 66,000 tons of fuel every time this shows up, filled up. So I'm protecting these with four ASW capable ships. Hell, I maybe even will add a fifth one in. So every one of these now, again, tankers. This is a really nice looking tanker group here, task force. I've got three destroyers and a destroyer minesweeper with them. I like to have one destroyer minesweeper in there just in case Lodric tries to get tricky on us and, mine something around here or mine something at near Pearl Harbor. Now, you'd say, well, we're probably going to see that. Yeah, we probably would, but, maybe we blow up the ship and not realize we haven't cleared one of the mines. I do have minesweepers running all around here, but rather be safe than sorry, and they run the dual purpose, right? They minesweep and they're going to do the ASW work. So I really like that. So that's kind of the situation around Hawaii. But let's just go and do the turn how I usually do it. And I usually always start up at Abadan. I don't know why. I like to start up here. And you could see all of the activity going Abadan to Karachi here. Just a ridiculous amount of ships coming in and out. Now, Abadan right now is actually a little low on supply, but it's always got a lot of fuel coming out of the Middle East. This is where you get the vast majority of your fuel for India, Burma, you know, Colombo, Australia sometimes, just depends. I'm not having a lot run from Abadan to Australia. I'm setting up kind of a line from Abadan to Bombay to Colombo and then either into Rangoon or Calcutta, although you don't really need to run task forces to Calcutta because it'll flow down these railways to Calcutta. So, you do need to run some over to Rangoon. Now, that is very dangerous operations to be running over to Rangoon at this point in time because he is going to start getting air power out there. But let's just go look at these task forces. Let's see what we have here. Okay, we've got this AK task force. Now they're actually loading supplies. Since we've gotten low on supplies and we've got so much fuel, I've been taking some AKs and running them fuel wise. So if you're not that familiar with the game, there's two real big things that you transport, either fuel or supply. And you can see every base that you click on in the game will tell you how much supply it has and how much fuel it has. Now, AKs are dry cargo ships. They're set up to take supply. All right. But you can convert them into a liquid cargo ship, but I say convert them. You don't have to do anything. You can just tell them to load fuel if you click this button, and they will put liquid on board, but only at half capacity. So right now, this task force has 16,700 tons of capacity. It's loading to the brim because we're doing supply. If we were doing fuel, this would only do, what would that be? 8,350 tons of fuel. So AKs, dry cargo, they're made to take supply. It's really your tankers that are made to take liquid, but sometimes you get in a situation like this where you've got a lot more fuel than you have supply. Get your AKs running that supply. But these guys are filled up now. They're just going to Karachi. I've got everything human controlled now. I've turned off the CSs, the continuous supplies. Now, this is for right now anyway, the safest place on the map. But you know, I just want to make sure that I don't forget anything. If he gets subs up here or something else crazy happens, you'll see Japanese players get up into this part of the map. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes they just give you free reign here. It's very hard logistically, obviously, unless they take Colombo. If they take southern India and Colombo, they could just have free reign up here. That's why it's so important to keep those places. Right. Okay. So we've got supply loading there. Then I have these AKs, and this is what I was talking about. It's a light group of ships, right? I mean, these are a little faster, a little more endurance. So I guess they're not like. These are like ships, though. All 3,900, 12, and 12,000. And they're going to run down to Karachi with fuel. As a matter of fact, let's make sure they do not refuel when they get to Karachi. What's the point of running it down there? This I do have on continuous supply. I probably could turn these guys to continuous supply, um, but I'm not going to. And I'm actually going to turn this one off. Now, when you turn it off, always remember it clicks back to full refuel. So, turn it to do not refuel for this stuff. Now, what do we want to do with this? Let's cancel load supplies and let's say load fuel. Okay. I mean, you're not going to get a massive amount, but it's what 7,800 or whatever tons. That's fine. Between the two of them, we're going to get almost 15,000 tons of fuel into Karachi. It's set for Karachi. That all looks good. And then we've got tankers here that are almost topped off. This is the British Energy and the British Unity. They're not exactly like ships, but close enough. Close enough. They're going to go down to Karachi as well, and we'll put them on do not refuel. Always make sure you do that. Check them for the refuel status because you may, you get down here to Karachi, you drop off with these cargoes, you drop off 7,000 tons, and you fill up 1,000 tons back to get back. It doesn't make a lot of sense when they can refuel when they get back to Abadan. Now let's see what we've got in port here. We've got a lot of AKs. They're all like ships. Great. Let's form a new task force. We'll make that cargo because we have to. Let's take out anything that's already in a task force and let's put, oh shoot, let's put them all, whoops, let's put them all together. This is the Paul Luckenbach. We could convert that. Now I've converted a lot of ships already. So we'll see for this turnaround anyway, though, we'll just put that here. We're going to load fuel. That'll give us almost 10,000, like 9,000 tons. Perfect. And then we'll set that off to Karachi. as its destination, and we'll make sure it does not refuel. That's an American task force. You can see it in the olive green. Great. Okay, so we've got one doing supply, the other four all doing fuel. We've got them all set to do not refuel. No other ships in port, no aircraft. If we look at what we've got here, it's just the fortress that's static. Nothing we can do about that, and that's that. That's that. We've got stuff coming in here. As you can see, we got more task forces that are right now in the penalty box. When they get here, I actually will have them auto disband because I'm trying to get everything kind of lined up with like ships as I like to do. CS Karachi, these guys don't need to disband though. We'll turn that off CS. No auto disband. That all looks fine. Now I'll keep, I have this on fuel full refuel, but it's going back to Abadan, so that's fine. So that's good. All right. We've got a bunch of task forces here. They're all coming to Karachi for the most part. Let's just make sure they're not set to refuel. This one, the Empire Glen, um, it did not have enough supply to take. And so I'm sending it deadhead to Karachi just to get it there, get it on the map, because then it's just going to go to Cape Town. All right. It's got a huge endurance. So these kind of ships I send to Cape Town, you set the home port there. It's just going to stop over in Karachi for a moment and then head to Cape Town. Do not refuel. Do not refuel here. This is coming in with fuel. Again, these are dry cargo ships, but we've got a lot of fuel. And here is where you'll see how they top off at half their capacity. It shows 100% on 5550. No mathematician here, but 2775 I think is half. It's going to go there. It'll go right back to Abadan. That looks good. Karachi, Abadan, do not refuel. Okay, these again, dry cargo taking fuel, and you'll see that a lot out of Abadan. Well, those have a speed of 14. These are a speed of 13. I could probably put them together, but I'm not going to. We have two nice big tankers. These are huge tankers coming in. 12,650 on the capacity. They are filled to the brim out here with the sweet stuff, the stuff that makes things go coming into Karachi. I've got that on a CS. We're going to take that off. It's going to be do not refuel. We cannot change that when it's in the penalty box here. You can see this is where things are coming out of the penalty box. I've got a lot of KVs here. Those Corvettes I'm going to put with ASW capability. I'm going to put them in with the higher value ships. Okay, this is just kind of floating around in the penalty box. What are you doing? Where are you going? He's going to Bombay. He's topped off with some fuel into Bombay. This guy, the AK Itenda, yeah, sure. It's going to Karachi first. It's going to drop this off. We're going to put it on do not refuel, and then it's going to retire back to Cape Town and have that be its home base. We've got the KV, the Frisia. I told you I've got some out here. They're running anti-sub stuff. I'm going to put them in actual task forces where I can, including one like this. This may be the one it really needs to go with, but usually what I do is wait till they pop out of the penalty box and then I have them link up with it. In this case, it's going in. These are, this is what, 28,000 tons worth of tanker that's floating back to Abadan. Then we have two AKs that are also headed back to Abadan, I believe. Let's make sure. Yeah, Abadan, Abadan. That all looks fine. What's going on with these two guys? We've got the Empire Glade out here. That is one that's also coming into Karachi, will retire to Cape Town. And then we've got a bunch of AK dry cargo ships taking actual supply to Karachi here. We're going to have them come in. Yeah, they're all like ships. We'll keep them together. And then they're actually headed back to Aden. Although Aden doesn't have well, we'll have them go back to Aden this time. That's fine. Let's put them on do not refuel and make sure they don't. So he's going that way. He's going that way. Let's look at these guys. They are coming in hot and heavy. This is 26,000 tons of fuel on these tankers coming in. I've got this on CS or continuous supply out of Abadan. I'm going to turn that off and we're going to take off full refuel. Coming into Karachi, I mean, that's just dump it in there and down the rail lines it goes. Look at all these AKs, dry cargo ships handling fuel. So we've got 29,000 tons that we could be taking, but it actually ends up being about 15,000 when you add that up because they're taking fuel, and we're going to click that over and do not refuel as well. We've got the PG Indus that is out here doing anti-sub work. It is a 4, which is great. You know, it's great that the Brits have this kind of advanced anti-sub early on. The AM Pool, it's a minesweeper. It's also got an anti-sub of 4, so I have it running just in and around Karachi here. When we get to Karachi, it looks like we do have one ship in port. We've got a very small garrison here, but I've got actual troop, I actually got troops headed this way. Karachi's just too important. If you can pull something out of the middle and send it to Karachi, do it. You never want them to be able to land here, and I've certainly done that. I've transferred some of the planes out. I've only got one group of level bombers here. I also got the Australians out. They're headed towards Darwin at this moment. They may actually already be there. I'll have to check on that when we get down that way. What's so we got the 4 aircraft. We got them set up just to do a general naval search in this area. We could. It's their oh, see, their max is only a 3. That's why I've got it set that way. So I just got it doing a circle around here, or got these guys doing a circle. That's fine. Let's see what ship is in port here. It's a TK, the British Venture. I'm leaving it here until, and I'm going to put it in one of these tanker task forces. I could go ahead and do that, I think. This max speed is 12. All right. So let's go back to Karachi. What's your max speed? 12. Okay, perfect. So let's make that a tanker task force. Let's go grab the British Venture. All right, and let's set it to meet a task force. So he's going to sail one out here and then one back. So I think it's got to be him. All right, so he'll meet 104, just so I don't forget, and we'll merge it. Now he's going to go out, come back, dock at Karachi. He doesn't have anything to unload, obviously, but now he'll be with them when they go back to Abadan. Okay, and I think it's all of what we've got here. This is the Ariadne Molar. This is headed to Cape Town. I put this together last time. It had come in from either Abadan or Aden. Off it goes. Okay, so that's Karachi. I'm not going to spend time going through all of this stuff in India. Rest assured, I've got it as close to the garrison minimum as I can in all of these places. And to the extent that they're not out here, they're on the coast. I've got everything out at the coast that I can. Let's go over to Aden and see what's in Aden. We've got a transport ship, an AP and an AK, so a transport task force, the Largs Bay, the Clan Lamont. Okay, they're both 17 speed. These are really nice to put together and carry a lot of stuff. Now, what do we have here? We just have some AA. I've got him in strategic mode. He's part of 3rd Indian Corps, so I'd love to get this AA eventually into Rangoon or into Colombo, but I don't want to use this really nice transport to do it. But we have others, and you can see everything that is here now. We have an AKV, which is cargo for aircraft up here. We will get aircraft into Aden, and I'm going to leave that here to take it. We've got the Australia Star, the Esperance Bay up here. We've got the little bitty Chilka and the Malda. Okay. We've got, a few AKs that are up here that we should actually put together now that we have them out here. Let's put these two together, the African Prince and the Bima. We can put those two together, certainly. Probably send them over to Abadan to carry stuff. That's really what those things are best for. So let's do that. Let's get now. You don't want to have no cargo ships here, right? Because you need cargo to go with your transport sometimes. But the governor's pretty nice, and we don't have a lot of stuff in here right now. We also have that Clan Lamont already with that transport, so that's okay. And let's send these over to Abadan. So we've got them in a cargo task force. We'll send them over to Abadan empty, because if we look down here, Aden's looking pretty rough for what it's got. It doesn't have a whole lot left back here. I should probably take that cargo force that's going to go, or cargo ships, but I like to have one task force going back to Aden just in case you need the cargo ships to carry something. Okay, let's go get one of these APs. We'll get the worst one we've got. It looks like these three are all the same. The Domer, the Malda, and the Chilka. let's get the Chilka, just because I like to say Chilka and I don't even know why. Oh gosh darn it, clicked on the wrong thing. Let's get the Chilka. There we go. All right, so we got that in transport. How much is the Chilka worth? That's a 12-point ship. Okay, so it's not nothing. Um, so we've got the Chilka set up. Let's dock it. Let's load troops. You see, we've got that AA regiment. We don't have enough. We don't have enough. And so let's go get another ship, and we can do that best by going verify load. Let's get a ship. What's it going to add to us here? The Australia Star. Well, I don't want to do that. Let's go back. All right, always make sure you take loading unit off. If you don't do that and you exit out of here, it's going to start loading. So let's go back. I thought I had a cargo ship left here. May have to break this up if I don't. Let's transport or transfer another AK in here. How about the governor? Sure. I'm looking to see. Yeah, the governor's fine. Let's put the governor in here. I do not want the Australia Star in here. Get out of here, Australia Star. There we go. Done. Okay, now we're going to load troops again. See if we can get them on here this time. Now it works. You see, it's not red here and used. Troop load available 2100. Used 0. You may say, well, get the transport out of there. You can't do that. Anytime you're going to take any counter anywhere on the map, you've got to have a transport for each counter you're taking. So we're not using it, but okay. Cargo load available 6450. We easily get that on. We're going to verify that load. Accept that load. Okay. And we're gonna say come down to Colombo originally. Okay. And as it gets out here on the map, as it's starting to float through the Arabian Sea, we'll get a KV either out of Colombo to go meet it, out of Bombay potentially, or out of Karachi. We'll get it out of somewhere here to go meet it. No more unescorted important ships. Okay, I think that does it for Aden. There wasn't anything else we really needed to do. It doesn't have much supply or fuel right now. Mombasa, we do have some stuff here. You can see 51,000 in supply. That's why I've got this task force going to Mombasa. So it's going to go up there, it's going to dock, and I take that to Colombo. That's fine. Let's go down to Cape Town. All right. Here is Cape Town. What's happening in good old Seatown? We've got a Dutch AK group here. Okay, they both got a 14 speed. That's why I've got them together. For now, though, let's disband them. What do we have here? We've got the Khedive Ishmael. Let's disband that. Sometimes I like to have them all in the same spot so I can see which ships are like each other. Let's disband that one too. Now we've got 10 ships in port. What do we have? 169,000 tons of supply, 167 of fuel. Let's go then and build some things up. We'll be looking for like speeds here. And as you can see, we've got speed 14. I like that. We've got a couple of speed 13s and we've got a couple of speed 12s. Okay, we've got an AP here, and then we've got these two AKs that have a speed 17. So let's start putting cargo ships together. I pretty much have everything disband the first time it comes into port, and then I go back and check it out. So let's put the 14s together. Done. Let's dock them. Let's load supplies. All right. And let's have them go to Perth. All right. Off to Perth they go, and they go down the penalty box, and then they head east. I do send um, what I can out to escort them into Perth from Perth, and then when it gets back to Perth, I have it on auto disband. That way, I don't forget to take the destroyer or the KV out and then send it out for the next thing. So we're going to do that. Do not refuel. That's fine. It can get there easily, and they will be on their way to Perth. All right. That's under a Dutch flag. Let's form another cargo task force. Okay. Let's get take out what's already in the task force so you don't get confused. The Nora Muller and the Marpessa. These are both nice ships. We will dock them. They've got a big enough capacity. You could load fuel here, but that's a long journey. Wait till you get uh, tankers over here because you do. You get a lot of tankers over here. So if you're going to take fuel, just wait on those tankers. Let's load supplies. All right. I can also tell you when we get over to the U.S. East Coast, I've got a lot of things running East Coast to Cape Town because Lodric is being so aggressive. Um, they can't get sunk if they go East Coast to Cape Town. So just keep that in mind. Do not refuel off to Perth. They go. All right. I'm going to keep something here. Let's keep the Steelmaker and the Centaur here for now. They're the worst of the two. And let's put those two together, the Speed 13 ships. Now, I haven't changed my tactics over here of making bigger task forces because it's a little different going to Perth. It's very hard logistically for him to, mess with that too much. Now, he'll send submarines down there, but we will get ASW out there. So, we'll be all right. Load supplies. Okay, do not refuel. All right, now down to Perth we go again. All right, on to Perth. Excellent. You can see the conga line that we have moving out there. We're going to have a few more ships in port. It is what it is. You can see all of the ships we have coming in and out of the penalty box to Cape Town. And then you have these that are coming from the U.S. East Coast. And I've got those set on CS. You can see they're bringing supplies into Cape Town. This one is as well. I'd probably like to put these together. Let's see why I wouldn't, but I can't do that until they get out of the penalty box. Um, then I'll put those together. All right, perfect. Yeah, that's it. We don't have anything to carry out of here. We got 3 ships in port, no aircraft, but we have no troops to be transported. This is that special, it's like British shipping, that has come in from the UK, and that's what that is. You can see it's RN South Atlantic Naval Headquarters, and it brings supply and fuel with it. What else? What do I have over here? Oh, I've got the Hobart, which is a light cruiser that was started up at Aden. It's heading to Perth right now. I'm going to bring it around the bend and put it with the rest of the Aussie naval fleet. I have the Cycleman is out here. It's out of fuel. I really need to fuel it with something. Where are you going? He's going to Colombo. These are just 2 little AKLs. You know what I'm going to do? Okay, I'm going to take the waypoints off here, and I'm going to have them go pick him up. So meet task force, because they can give him fuel. He's out of fuel, and so we're going to have him go back, or have them all go into Colombo as incompatible. How can that be incompatible ships? He has to merge in with them. With them, we'll just put him on refuel then. Fine. Okay, refuel him, and then he can get back on his way to Colombo. They're heading to Colombo as well. We'll fix that when they get over to him, but they got to get him refueled. The Hobart on its way. We have a lot of other things out here in the penalty box, as you can see, including some aircraft that are coming out of here that we have going, I think, to Colombo, maybe to Bombay. I can't remember. Um, well, let's find out. Yeah, they're going to Colombo. So I've got aircraft coming to Colombo. Let's see what those are. Whoops. These are hurricanes. We've got 24 hurricanes heading to Colombo. Hurricane 2B Trops getting in there. Excellent. We need those. We need those all over the map. But that's kind of our first batch of them is out here. Then you see we've got transports that are, this is heading to Calcutta. We've got stuff heading to Colombo. We've got AKs. We've got stuff going to Perth. These are just massive cargo task forces here heading to Perth. More massive task forces heading to Perth. I'll go back and check all these when they get on the map. We've done all that. I've got a lot of stuff in at Bombay. There's nothing else really to do over here. But I think I'm going to save the rest of it for next time. I'm going to try to break these up into bite-sized chunks and produce a lot of them because I'm actually going to be gone this weekend. So I'm going to be posting these maybe 1 or 2 a day. while I'm gone. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. We'll continue going over our situation and our setup when we come back next time. I'll talk to you then. Have a good one. I'm out.